All right, I would like to call the January 14th, 2025 Lake Champlain Lake George Regional Planning Board Annual Meeting of the Board to order at 1:03 PM. And our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
and to the republic to stand one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Shannon Thayer. Josh Kretzer. Wendell Hughes. Mark Henry. Rebecca Murphy. Carl Weiss. Charlie Harrington. Meg Wood. Here. Ike Tyler.
Here.
Sean Gilliland. Mike Diskin. Jim Dugan. Beth Hunt. Here. Christy Wilt. Here. Clay Arsenal. Jody Small. Here. Tracy Eldridge. John Taplin.
Here.
Frank Thomas.
Here.
John Stroud.
Here.
Kevin Garrity.
Here.
Christine Norton. Here. Kevin Hajos. Sue Clary. Here. Charles Tall.
Here.
Dave O'Brien.
Here.
Bob Henke. Al Nolet.
That's a sure.
Deb Donahue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have a quorum. Okay. So at this time, I would like to open the floor for nominations of the chair.
To nominate Dave O'Brien as chairman.
Ike Tyler nominates Dave O'Brien. Frank?
I would like to nominate John Taplin as chair.
Frank nominates John Taplin. How do we've never done this before. I need a second for all. So can I have a second for the nomination for Dave O'Brien? Second by Beth Hunt. And can I have a second for nomination of John Taplin?
I can't vote.
I don't think I'm,
There's gotta be a voting member.
Oh,
I'm not voting.
Second by Christie.
Kind of embarrassed.
yeah.
Please go to a roll call vote.
I can't vote.
Yeah. I'm asking. We never. Okay. Meg Wood.
Yeah,
Who do you vote for?
I know Mr. O'Brien.
Ike.
Dave.
Beth. Christie. John Taplin.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
John.
Frank.
John Taplin.
John Stroud.
I gotta go with Dave for continuity purposes, although John Taplin does a good job administrating, but I think we need that continuity.
Sue.
Dave O'Brien.
Charles.
Dave O'Brien.
Dave.
Myself.
3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 for Dave O'Brien, which is not a majority of the voting members. So how does?
Where's our attorney?
Not here.
It's the majority of those present.
It's the majority of those present. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Dave O'Brien has it. Can I have a motion to close the nominations?
I'll move that.
Motion by Ike. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second.
And by, was that Christie? Okay. And then we did the vote, so it's good. Yeah. Hey, Shannon. Okay.
We're counting 4 new chairs. So anyhow, thank you for your confidence. This has been a long haul to get up there. We've made a lot of progress. And I think we'll have some challenges coming over the coming year. So I appreciate the support and I look forward to the next year. Thank you very much. Second item of business is election of a vice chairperson. Do I have a nomination for a vice chairperson? Nomination for vice chairperson?
John Taflon,
I have a motion on John Taflin. Do I have a second? Second by Frank and Beth. Do I have any other nominations? Do I have any other nominations? Do I have any other nominations? I've been asked 3 times and heard no more. I will look for a motion to close the nominations. Motion by Ike. Do I have a second? Second by Meg. Any further discussion? All in favor of John? Signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And now we have treasurer. I would ask for a motion for treasurer. Current incumbent is Al Nolet. Beth and Al Nolet, second by Ike and Sue Clary. Do I have any other nominations? Do I have any other nominations? Do I have any other nominations? Having asked 3 times, I will now entertain a motion to close the nominations for treasurer. Motion by Frank, second by Meg and Beth. Do I have a second? I already have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All those in favor of electing Al Nolet as treasurer, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Congratulations, Al.
how are
It
your
was a
friends?
tough battle.
I can't pay it hard.
Next is a motion for secretary. Current is Christy Wilt is his current secretary. I would ask for a motion for the current secretary. Or ask for a motion for secretary. Motion Beth for Christy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Frank and John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carrie? I ask for a motion to close the nominations. I Meg, do I have a second? Ike? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
And all in favor of Christie? Say aye.
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 Did I hear no, Christie? Just kidding. Okay, appointment of executive committee at large. Current person is John Strow as the executive committee at large member. John, do you still want to serve?
Sure.
Okay, so I will appoint John Strow as at-large member. Thank you. Next order of business, approval of the October 8th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Do I have a motion for approval of minutes? Motion by Meg, do I have a second? Second by John Strow and Shannon Thayer. Any omissions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. Rolette, now you can do your thing.
So before I do my thing, I need to eat a little bit of crow. Because I second guessed myself and went and checked the bylaws. Which says the affirmative vote of a majority of all directors of the Lake Champlain Regional Planning Board who have voting rights shall be necessary for the adoption of any proposed action.
Right.
So Dave's out.
The way that that's worded is contrary to what I told you moments ago.
So you should revote.
We have to re-vote.
Failure to get a majority would have a holdover until you could. It's time to get a majority. You can call for another vote. Otherwise, you'd have to have another election in our next meeting, try again.
Okay,
Figured a better chance.
we're gonna re-vote for chairman. The options are Dave O'Brien or John Taflin. So I'll start at the top, Shannon Thayer.
What am I just supposed to state name?
Yeah.
I'll vote for John Taplin.
Meg Wood,
Mr. O'Brien,
Ike,
Dave.
Beth Hunt,
Let's vote for Dave.
Christie, John Taflin. Yeah.
Oh.
Frank,
Frank. Dave O'Brien.
John Stroud,
Dave.
Sue Clary,
Dave,
Charles Tall,
Dave.
Dave O'Brien.
Dave,
1, 2, 3.
So I was gonna vote for Dave too.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so we're good, Dave.
Sorry about that.
no problem, better be right
That's why I love
than
it.
wrong. So.
Okay.
Here's another question. Where's our parliamentarian? Do we have to redo what we did already? In terms of election of vice chair, treasurer, or secretary? And appointment?
Since it didn't change the outcome, I would say no.
Can we do one that just reaffirms what we just did for the elections?
you.
Do you want to just do one blanket?
Let's just do one blanket, make it clear.
Yep.
So I'd ask for motion to confirm the nomination, the election of vice chairperson as John Taflin, treasurer as Al Nolet, secretary is Christie.
I need a motion.
Motion by Sue and by Meg. Do I have a second? Second by by Ike.
They vote first.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And finally, I still appoint John Stroud as executive committee at large member. Approval of board October 8th regular meeting. We need to revote that one or not?
I
Nah,
don't think so. 'Cause
okay, treasury report. Now it's you.
All right. So I'll be brief, because as many of you know who've been here before, most of what I would normally report out on to you, get reported out to you by the executive director. I leave that in her capable hands. I will tell you that the agency has come a long way since 2018. It's much more pleasant serving as their treasurer now than it was maybe then. And I give, this whole group as well as the staff credit for turning this agency into what it is today. I think that, the report you have in front of you, our preliminary 2024 year end. There is a little bit of stuff that happens in January, as you all know, from your county jobs that gets posted back to the prior year. So there'll be a few more expenses posted back and there'll be a few more invoices for revenue posted. But it looks like we're gonna do break even. But my projection based on what I have seen is that we'll turn a little bit of a surplus over this year. Pretty excited to have that. I would have taken break even as a win, so turn a little bit extra into the kitty. Can't hate that at all. The one of the more noticeable things that we did in 2024, and Beth has kind of become my sister from another mister because this investing the county,
Leave it at that.
investing the agency's monies and making our assets work for us has become a little bit of an adventure. And I'm happy to report that through our partnership with Arrow Bank, still getting used to saying Arrow Bank instead of Glens Falls National, but we turned the money that we were holding in the past at 0.15% in a checking account into $73,000 of interest for only a portion of the year. So again, I can't hate that because we only turned over 123,000 in interest on the loan for the entire year. So I'm quite impressed with the best management of the agency's assets and being able to leverage that into an additional 73,000. So that's the most notable thing that I wanted to share with you all.
I think a lot of us who have got our investments in the ICS fund with Glens Falls National and a couple others, it's been fantastic. I mean, we're at 5.15 and I looked last night and I'm down to 4.2. So it's going to be a big change, so we can't expect that big revenue.
It's still better than 0.15, sir.
You're right. You're right. So I need a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Owned by Beth. Do I have a second? Second by John and Frank. John Taplin, I'm sorry. Any omissions or corrections? All in favor? Next item of business is the abstracts. The abstracts are sent out in front of you. I'll need a motion to approve the abstracts as mailed out. Do I have such motion? Motion by Ike. Do I have a second? Second by John Stroud. Any omissions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Excuse me, opposed? Carried. The 2024 year-end audit.
I just wanted to note that we've been in contact with the auditors. They will have the RDC audit done by the March deadline, but they're gonna push back our audit a little bit. So instead of seeing it in April, you guys will see it in July. But it's not due to the feds until September 30th, so we're still within our compliance window.
Okay. Any questions for Beth on that?
Chairman, I'll just note too that I've already sent the information for the RDC in, so they've begun that review process on it.
Good, thank you. And hopefully by the next year, we'll be done with the RDC.
Hopefully.
We'll have a hell of a celebration on that one. And next is credit card policy. Beth, you want to explain that one, please?
Yeah, so if you look at under policy item 5, so last year, if you remember, we increased the limit because our limit on the credit card was increased. But we didn't increase the limit of individual purchases, and you know, with our monthly IT and our conference registrations, they're over $1,000. So I'd like to increase that to $3,000, which matches our procurement policy of being able to make a singular purchase without having to go into procurement.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve that change. Motion by Ike. Do I have a second? Second by Shannon. Any questions, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Reaffirmation of policies, and I think John printed them all out.
Nope. Number 8's amendment to the loan admin bylaws.
Oh, sorry. Number 8, amendment to loan administrative committee bylaws, board action. Would you explain that, please?
Yep, so the second page under powers, we adjusted the SBLF loan management plan to allow the loan committee to approve loans up to $150,000, and anything 150 and one over had to go to the executive committee. I just wanted to shore up the language in the bylaws because it says the loan committee can only approve up to a maximum of 100,000. So I just changed it to 150 based on the individual board approved program management plan. Loans above the stated maximum approval amount in each board approved management plan shall be referred to the executive committee. And that way we can adjust the management plans as we want to without having to continuously redo the bylaws.
Okay. Any questions? Motion to amend the policy for the loan administrative committee? For motion? Motion by Shannon. Shannon, do I have a second? Seconded by Sue Clary. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. The loan administration amendment to regional planning board bylaws.
So I spoke to our attorney this morning. He has some comments, so he asked that I pull that from a vote today. He's going to go through them in more detail. He couldn't get to it before the 10-day notice requirement. So
Okay.
we'll revisit.
Thank you. Reaffirmation of policies.
So the remaining policies for reaffirmation are the electronic banking policy, the ethics law, investment policy, procurement policy, sexual harassment prevention policy and program, workplace violence policy, loan collection process, petty cash policy and procedures, time off accrual policy, and video conferencing and extraordinary circumstances policy.
Has everyone reviewed those and have any changes to recommend? Mike?
Just curious, Has a lawyer looked over all those at one point or another, you know?
They have not, and I actually want to do that as part of our strategic plan to make sure that our policies are shored up to what they should be.
So there's a yes and no to that. Some of the policies we haven't changed since we reorganized back in
19.
1928. Back in 2018. So they were reviewed by at least Warren County's attorneys. I think that the Warren County attorney looked at some of them also. They're circulated. So the answer is yes to some of them, no to others. And I think we should go through them and do that also. So on that basis, I ask for a motion to reaffirm the policies. Motion by Shannon. Second by John. Excuse me, Stroud. Second,
We should split up.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Redesignation of banks and newspapers.
So our bank is Aerobank, formerly Glens Falls National, and redesignation of the Post Star and Press Republican for our legal notices. Any motion?
Need a motion to Ike. Do I have a second? John Taplin and Beth Hunt. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Carried. Amendment of the 2025 salary schedule and budget. Beth?
So we painstakingly spent 2024 trying to hire a senior planner. We finally have someone in the salary schedule. I had it at $70,000. She is requesting 75. So I would like to increase the senior planner salary in the salary schedule to 75,000 to be fair to the remaining staff. I also increased all the salaried employees $5,000 and the hourly employees by $3,000. So that was an increase in personnel costs of $29,000. There's also an increase in the administrative assistant cost, moving those hours from 19 hours a week to 24 hours a week. So that's the balance of the increase that you see between the change in the salaries from the adopted 2025 budget to the amended 2025 budget. And then I calculate fringe on 40%. Do you want to do the salary schedule first? Or do you want to do the budget first?
I would rather do the salary schedule first.
Okay.
Need a motion to accept the proposed new salary and amend the motion by John Taplin, second by Beth and Shannon. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And now we need an amendment to the budget. I need a motion to amend the budget.
Do you want me to explain where the additional revenue is coming from?
Please do.
So the salaries increased. You'll also see the funding for the strategic plan has increased because we didn't start that process yet. There are a couple of new grants that will add to the expenses that are highlighted as well. So that's increasing our total budget to just over 1.7 million. If you look at the revenue category, the DEC 604B planning grant, I didn't have the our allocation, our annual allocation when I did the budget. So I estimated at 145. It came in at 147,672. You'll see the fund balance for the strategic plan go up as well. And then we found out, we did some adjustments to some grants, but at the bottom, you'll see new grants that were awarded to us since we did the budget, which is where the additional revenue is coming from.
Any questions for Beth on that? I need a motion to adopt that.
So moved.
Motion by Frank. Do I have a second? Sue Clary, Ike. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Procurement award for the organization's strategic plan for regional planning board.
I would like to pull that one as well. We are hoping to be ready by today, but Jess Allison and I have talked about it and we would like to interview some of the candidates. We got more responses than we had anticipated. We like to talk to them before we.
Good. Glad to hear there's more than you expected.
Yeah, 10, I think.
Did you get a better range from them?
What's that?
More around to here or all over the place?
All over the place, all over the country.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
All right, that's bold. Procurement award for technical assistance for comprehensive planning.
So this is for the hurricane comp plan. As part of the grant, we have funding in there to put out an RFP for assistance for education and outreach and mapping and design, right? Project design or plan design. So we put out RFP on November 22nd, sent it directly to MWBEs per the New York State requirements. We got one response, which was Warren County Planning and Community Development. And so I would like to award LCLGRPB 0324 to Warren County Planning and Community Development for $26,680. And this is covered completely by the grant.
Okay. I need a motion for that, to award that. Okay. Motion by Ike. Do I have a second? Second by John Stroud and Shannon Thayer. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next item is sole source contract award.
UCLA. So we received a $250,000 grant from MBRC for cell planning in the 5 counties. That's being matched with $88,000 from Empire State Development. One of the things that we're doing with that funding is a drive test to look at availability within the 5 counties. However, there is this company called UCLA that does crowdsourcing mobile data. And one of the things that we wrote into the grant we want to do is purchase a year license to the UCLA data, do our drive test, and then QA QC them against each other. Because if we can just continuously have a license to UCLA so that we can look at how coverage is changing with the increase in cell towers and things like that, we won't have to continuously pay for drive tests every couple of years. So this is going to be covered entirely by the grant. So I'm asking for approval of a procurement exception under section 4B of our procurement policy, which says in cases where there is common knowledge of the existence of a monopolistic situation for a particular class of materials, goods, or services being sought, the purchase procurement from a single identified vendor shall be allowed upon approval of the LCLGRPB board. And there's some information on how it works, but just in general, there's an app you can put on your phone. You can actually tap it and it'll do a speed and availability test, but they also have an agreement with Androids and their technology runs in the background of apps, which is continuously gathering data from Android phones.
That's quite a mouthful.
Yeah.
So good. I'm glad we found someone who's sole contract can do this. This is the one we did the map. You sent out the maps and had us
Yep.
outline the areas.
Yep.
Has everyone done that or any other counties haven't done that?
Yeah, no, we're good. Those are going to help inform our drive test areas.
Okay.
So
Right.
we've got an RFP out for that right now.
And I did put in the spots that I dropped.
Cool.
We talked, we dropped calls,
Called Fort Ann.
Fort Ann. To be fair, there's a little part in Granville too. Okay, I need a motion to accept that. Motion by Sue Clary. Do I have a second? Second by Ike. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Reappointment of loan administrative committee members. Could you tell us who they are currently and?
Yes, we have 3 loan administrative committee members that are up for reappointment, and they're all interested in being reappointments. We have Chris Hay from Danmore Federal Credit Union. He is our Northern at-large member. Mark Yersha from Arrow Bank is our Warren County representative, and Carol Calabrese from the Essex County IDA is our Essex County representative.
Okay, I need a motion to reappoint those administrative committee members. I have a motion by John Stroud, second by Meg and John Taflin. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. 2025 interest rate approval board action.
Yeah, so the loan committee has suggested remaining at 5 to 9% as the range for our 2025 interest rates for our loan fund.
Do I have a motion for that? Motion by Ike. Do I have a second? Second by Beth and John Sproul. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And Christie, you're up.
All right, so the loan committee has met twice since the last board meeting. I was reelected as the chair for 2025. Juan Gonzalez was reelected secretary for 2025. The committee approved 2 loans. The first one was to B Trues Mad Flava LLC, DBA Lizzie Keys in Warrensburg in Warren County for $111,600. And the second one was Tamilia Peppercorn LLC in Scroon, Essex County for $71,500. The Regional Planning Board has completed its personal legal action against Elf Property Management in Plattsburgh, Clinton County. The effort only recovered $3,008.75. Legal costs for the effort was $3,050.19 in attorney fees, leaving the Regional Planning Board minus $42.44 on the effort. The executive director is working with the attorney to identify any other recovery methods, but this may end up as a write-off as well in the near future. Trailhead Restaurant Group LLC requested that the Regional Planning Board subordinate its current second position on the real estate collateral and to extend the interest-only period. The committee did not approve that request. And that's
Okay,
all she wrote.
I hope you write more. All right, thank you very much, Christie. Aaron. AGFTC report.
Okay, thank you, Chairman O'Brien. Do I have a slide or am I free wheeling it? That's okay. It's not entirely necessary if it's a production. I'll break this up into 4 basic categories, stuff that we were able to successfully complete during the last calendar year at the Transportation Council, stuff we're working on, stuff we intend to be working on, and stuff that's been proposed for our upcoming work program, which is currently available for public comment. So, starting with the first category, completed projects during calendar year 2024. We finished an update to an access study to Glens Falls Middle School and High School to improve student transportation as well as vehicular circulation around their primary campus. Happy to report that some of the recommendations from that are being implemented. We completed a concept plan to improve connections to the Empire State Trail and the village of Fort Anne. We completed a study for safety recommendations for a couple of intersections along Hudson Avenue near Glens Falls Hospital. These again were primarily concerns regarding pedestrian transportation and vehicular interactions. And we finished a pedestrian improvement plan for the village of Argyle. So lots of bike ped stuff. It was a heavy year for bike ped stuff. It's been a heavy couple of years for bike ped stuff. Projects underway include, again, a bike ped plan for the town and village of Greenwich, complete streets project in the village of Granville that hopes to improve conditions along the D&H Trail and County Route 24. So there's kind of 2 separate projects within that overall effort. We've just gotten underway with a conceptual plan for bicycling and pedestrian related improvements among a couple of destinations in the town of Queensbury, including SUNY Adirondack, Rush Pond Trail, Gurney Lane, and the Warren County Bikeway. And we're also working on a bicycling improvement plan for the city of Glens Falls. Also underway is a fairly broader scale corridor study for the town of Warrensburg, Main Street Route 9 corridor. Already been presented with a number of interesting modifications that we hope to have out to the committee for review soon. So that's the stuff that's underway. Upcoming projects that are just getting underway include a mobility study for the village of South Glens Falls, primarily related to that cluster of signals just over the bridge on Route 9. There's some pedestrian concerns associated with some of those intersections as well as some nearby locations. We have on our list of things to do a corridor study similar to what we're doing in Warrensburg for the Route 9N corridor in Lake Luzerne. And we have yet to get underway, but we're eagerly anticipating starting this, a joint project with the Capital District Transportation Authority to identify a few of their existing transit stops and see what we can do about improving non-motorized access to those locations. So we recently conducted a program solicitation for our upcoming work program, which is patterned along the state fiscal year. So that would be slated to start in April. And these are some of the candidates that we got back. These are the proposed projects in the right-hand column. Some more technical highway-related, capacity-related things this time around, including analyzing the potential traffic impacts of proposed zoning changes in the town of Queensbury that would encourage more commercial infill development along existing corridors. There's some concerns that particular code change would enable some additional traffic concerns. So we're going to figure out a way to take a look at the possible impacts of those and roll those into the zoning recommendations. The city of Glens Falls has requested an update to a number of, again, child access studies that were done 10, 15 years ago for a series of the elementary schools in the district. New administration, new districts, new leadership at the schools have all combined to provide for an opportunity to revisit some of those. We have an intersection analysis at Bay and Webster, which is a safety project that we may roll into the school access project for Jackson Heights. Have a request from the town of Bolton to take a look at some pedestrian facilities along 9N near Bolton Landing. The town of Queensbury has asked us to take a look at ADA accessibility improvement concepts for a couple of major components of its trail system, including Halfway Brook and Rush Pond. And we've been asked to take another look at the original traffic volume forecasts that were rolled into the capital project that resulted in the Exit 18 project. We know, many of you know, that that project took years and years and years and years of design to finally get off the ground. And once it was done, there are still some operational concerns, particularly on the city side, claiming that the corridor isn't functioning as well as it should, and that's resulting in residential cut-through traffic. So what we hope to do is take a look at the traffic forecasts that were made, compare those to existing volumes, see if we were on track, see if the analysis was sound, and also see what we can do from a residential traffic calming perspective to calm down some of that cut-through traffic. So that's what we've been asked to look at for the upcoming year. Again, that draft work program is available on our website. It's been approved by our planning committee for public comment. Public comment will be accepted on that through February 6th. You can get at that at our main website at www.agftc.org. Couple of other things I wanted to add. We recently awarded at the Transportation Council $1.5 million in bicycle and pedestrian related capital improvements. This isn't planning, this is build stuff money. To, let's see if I can remember this, the city of Glens Falls, Warren County, town of Monroe, town of Salem, and I'm missing somebody, which is a shame. Greenwich, town and village of Greenwich. So again, that's one of those rare opportunities where the Transportation Council has a set aside of money that we can award that's non-competitive regionally or statewide. So we're happy to announce that those are moving forward, and we'll get our encourage our local sponsors to get their state and local agreements in place so we can start on those. And a broader overall project summary, our solicitation for capital projects, highway and bridge projects, and public transportation projects, that's currently underway. Hoping to get our applications back from local sponsors by January 31st. That's the 5-year capital program that results in the major highway projects in the region that are federally funded getting done. So that's underway as well. And that is my report. Thank you, Chairman O'Brien.
Thank you. Any questions for Aaron? All right.
Chairman.
Yes, Al.
Aaron, just out of curiosity, is there any way when you're working through the TIP process on the roads and bridges, could the treasurers that are affected by the TIP program get any kind of notifications? Because one of the things that I find is that while I'm happy to have 95% of my bridge funded, sometimes my 5% local share isn't a cash flow that I've planned for.
Mhm.
So it would be very helpful as a treasurer to kind of work and be able to cash flow. Because as you know, with the Marshall money, if I got a $6 million bridge, I'm fronting the 6 million with my handout to the state. And I'm beholden to them until they feel like giving me my money back. So sometimes it's necessary for a county to have to ban to cash flow the Marshall money. So if we could get somehow the financial people of the counties looped in, I think that would be beneficial.
At what point would you be requesting that? Because right now, what we're conducting the solicitation right now.
Yep.
It's basically resource blind in that I have an idea of what the overall scale of the program is going to be for the two counties combined, as well as the portion of Monroe or portion of Saratoga County rather. But we don't necessarily know how that's going to shake out. We don't know which projects we're going to award. Typically, we try and balance it between the two principal counties. And we don't know what they're going to ask for. So at what point do you need to know what they're going to ask for? Or what point would that be beneficial?
My understanding is that your tip is a 5-year program. So
That's correct.
Once you know what the 5-year plan is, it would be extremely beneficial.
Okay.
I'm very lucky that my highway superintendent and I have a good relationship. But there's still, I don't have 5 years worth of knowledge that maybe would be beneficial to me and my board and cash flow plan.
So a draft program would be useful to you?
So
Or do you need to be in a position to inform the actual applications that I receive?
So once you award, that would be a good time to start planning how we're gonna
Okay.
cash flow those awards.
That sounds like more like being looped in once the draft maybe is out there for public
Sure.
comment before it's finalized.
Sure.
Okay, sure thing.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Aaron
Thank you, Chair.
and Beth. 2024 by the numbers.
Yeah, so just to do a brief presentation on what we were up to in 2024. We submitted 31 grant applications. So far, 14 have been awarded. There are still 3 outstanding. One's actually a $1.1 million EPA grant, but to date, we secured about $4 million in funding this year. So for every dollar contributed by the 5 counties, we have secured $92 in grant funds. These are the grants that we've got so far in 2024. So we partnered with Adirondack Foundation to get a grant to do some planning around water quality issues in some disadvantaged communities throughout the Lake Champlain watershed. We partnered with Adirondack Roots and wrote a DEC Smart Growth Grant for housing, workforce housing pre-development in 4 municipalities, 2 in Essex County, 1 in Hamilton. Town of Chester. Yeah. Town of Chester just got the money for their dam, almost $900,000. The Village of Granville, Allison worked on a $350,000 water line project. Town of Lake Pleasant is a park project through OPRHP. We got the catalyst is for to the Regional Planning Board. It's for the cell plan I was talking about earlier. We also got a Lake Champlain Basin Program grant to help Clinton, Warren, and Washington counties administer the septic program money that's been given to them by the state. We also got a Lake Champlain Basin Program grant to do a watershed assessment in the Wood Creek, Big Creek subwatershed in Washington County. So it's the town of Hartford and some of the surrounding areas. We got a $50,000 WQIP for the town of Mariah to do some engineering around erosion on Bewaga Bay. We got the town of Plattsburgh and the town of Salem money for salt sheds. The Village of Speculator is for a comp plan. And the Warren and Washington County grants are for improved winter road maintenance equipment for the 2 counties. We worked in 57 communities in all 5 counties. And we have been all over the place this year. I told you guys last year when I increased the travel budget that we were getting out there. That's presenting to the APA on our workforce housing. That's Sam down at the LOB talking to some people about workforce housing in our work. Assemblyman Simpson, Assemblyman Jones, the Lieutenant Governor, Ali Webinaro, who's the governor's rep for the North Country. And this is Mark Pattison, Deputy Secretary state for local government, and Chris Saunders is the federal co-chair for the Northern Border Regional Commission. In economic development, we've got 19 ongoing projects. We wrote 3 economic development grants, did 5 intermunicipal reviews. We've been doing a lot of work on wastewater, drinking water infrastructure and resiliency. We have a Washington County and a Clinton County resiliency plan going. Brought the work around broadband and cellular we've been talking about all year. Industrial and business park development, our small business assistance program, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and some workforce development. In our community development program, we have 17 ongoing projects. 14 of the grants that we wrote were for community development. We are currently doing 2 comp plans, which is going to jump to 6 comp plans in 2025. We completed 4 Main Street reinvestment plans in Essex County in 2024. We started our Safe Streets for All Transportation Safety Action Plan. We have a North Country and Adirondack Gateway, and those are going to wrap up in early 25. Complete Streets. Workforce housing pre-development is where we've been focusing our efforts specifically with nonprofit developers. We've been working with brownfields. We have a BOA inventory going on with Shannon and Clinton County. Allison has done some work on historic preservation, securing grants for a museum and a library. Yeah, the Heitzman Library in Horicon to improve those. And then we've been working on some trail projects as well. Water quality, we've got 16 ongoing projects. 14 of the grants that we wrote in 2024 were for water quality. Salt shed and de-icing equipment is our bread and butter at the Regional Planning Board, it seems like. Sam did a lot of watershed planning. This is a picture of a new dashboard that we have for our Lake Champlain watershed projects and our sub-watershed assessment update that we just completed in 2024. And we've been working with a lot of municipalities on stormwater and green infrastructure planning and implementation projects. We get a lot of the grants for the counties and the watershed groups when they partner for roadside erosion and culvert and shoreline stabilization projects. So currently we are managing 52 grants. Or in 2024, we were managing 52 grants. About 5 of those are going to close out and we're going to add a handful more based on CFAs. We also have 15 grants to the Regional Planning Board from various state and federal entities that we manage and do work under. Our small business loan fund. So in 2024, the committee approved 5 loans totaling almost $500,000 in capital. They denied 2 loans, but I will note that one of the loans was denied and we actually sent them to our small business technical assistance people to work on cost control and projections, and they came back and were approved in December. Modified 2 loans, one was a collateral subordination and one was a reworking of a condition. We have 4 loans in default. It's an 8% default rate across the portfolio. 2 of those are the Joe Brand loans that we've been hanging on to for a while. We do still have a mortgage on the residence. We're going to see what the county is going to do with tax foreclosure in 2025. And 2 are out of RLF 5, ELF Property Management, which Christy mentioned earlier in her report, and then RC Spot, which we have legal action against right now as well. So total principal defaulted is $334,965. We did not write off any loans in 24. We had 2 mature. So $200,000 worth of capital matured. We had 3 loans pay off early. So the early paid off principal was about $186,000. So starting 2025, right now we have 49 loans in our portfolio totaling $5.23 million. But we did have 2 loans that were approved in December that haven't been closed yet. So then we'll add 2 more. It's another $183,000 in capital. Our SBTA program, in 2024, we had 17 businesses assisted. This is a quote from Marilyn Rivers from Rivers Risk Consulting in Queensbury. Mostly we've been helping with business plans, financials, websites, and online sales. Online sales has been a big thing. 1 business transition. We did help one in Washington County with a state grant application for equipment. Our loan committee has actually really kind of leaned into this program when they're looking at loans and they think that projections, especially in business plans, need a little fleshing out. What they'll do is just send them to work with our SBTA providers. then the borrowers will come back in 3 months with a much greater understanding of their financials and cost controls and those kind of things. And then the committee feels much more comfortable approving the loan. So it's really been an asset and a tool to our loan committee to help out our borrowers to make sure they're in the best position to be able to pay back their loans. And that in a nutshell is 2024.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate all your effort over the years, and that includes the entire staff.
Thank you.
I thought you wanted me to play with it.
No. Should give it to Jessica.
So I just thought I would highlight some of our new projects as part of the, part of my report. The full report is in the packet. We recently received, we worked with the town of Chester and they received the Lake Dam grant, the WQIP grant for $896,000. They were very excited since they had applied in 2023 and there were no awards made during that year. So they were happy to be awarded this year. They actually went out to bid on the project in early fall and they expect completion about mid-May so that Loon Lake Beach is open for the 2025 season. And the repair is going to eliminate some seepage issues and problems with the structural stability and bring the dam back into compliance and remove the unsound rating that they've had for the past several years. So that's an exciting project moving forward. And we're working with 3 recent NBRC grantees. The Adirondack Land Trust received a $3 million grant. And they are working on building 2 separate universal access trails at 2 nature preserves in Saranac Lake and Lake Placid. The Essex Food Hub received a $500,000 grant, and they are working on renovating a Main Street building in Westport to provide business development support for small farm businesses, a place to prepare foods for sale, and they're excited to get moving on their project.
I just heard Westport was a very nice place. People should visit.
I agree.
I heard the government is a handful.
And in the Village of Granville, as Beth mentioned earlier, they received $350,000 for work on extending an existing water main to serve the community's commercial corridor.
Not moving.
We good? Sure. Okay. And a third program or a third new program we're working on is with Washington County, and we're working on internet deployment program. The main goal is encouraging residents to use fixed wireless and satellite internet technologies in places where they don't have access to broadband. And it's amazing the number of places throughout the county that do not have broadband access. Residents are eligible for up to $1,000 for equipment installation. We sent out approximately 1,500 initial letters to eligible residents. We got back 170 interested residents and 81 who were not interested. And you're sending out follow-up information this week, and everyone that has called or sent postcards have been pretty excited about the program. So that is it for me.
So have we awarded any internet?
No.
Yeah, okay.
The second, so the first mailing went out and told them about the program and send back a postcard if they were interested. By the end of this week, we should have the second mailing going out that gives them all the information on how to provide their documentation back to the county for reimbursement.
Okay, good. Thank you. It's a good program. I'm glad we can help the
Absolutely.
what I call it, internet disadvantaged. Okay, and next is principal planner.
I'll see if I can make it work. Sometimes it works.
Got new batteries in your pocketbook too?
Oh, it works for me. I got it.
Oh.
Karen. All right, same thing on my end. The full report is in your packet, but I'm gonna highlight a few projects and programs that we're working on right now. Beth mentioned approximately $200,000 award from the Lake Champlain Basin Program awarded to our organization. This is under the name of the Regional Septic Smart Expansion and Implementation Program, and it will enable us to expand our existing Septic Smart Education Outreach Program. But we'll also be working with those three counties and their departments that administer the New York State Septic Replacement Fund. As many of you know, an issue with that fund was that there was no administrative monies attached to it. So through this grant, we're able to provide some staff funding for those three counties. In addition to that, there's some money in there for Warren County to do some additional septic replacement on top of the funding they have from New York State. Let's see, we are wrapping up our Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, the SS4A program through the Federal Highway Administration. As we've mentioned before, we have two separate ones. One's the Adirondack Gateway, which encompasses Warren County, Washington County, and parts of northern Saratoga County. And then the North Country Plan is Clinton County, Essex County, and Hamilton counties. Right now, many of you have heard, or you will be hearing soon, we are a part of a component of this program is a leadership commitment. And that's a commitment from sort of the decision makers in the region. We've identified the counties as the best place for this. AGFTC, Aaron's organization, will also be adopting a leadership commitment. And essentially, it's a resolution acknowledging an effort to improve safety for all road users. It is a goal of 0 fatalities over the next, I think, 20 years. So if you have some of our contacts at your counties already have the resolutions. If you're interested in more information, please let me know. But if they aren't in front of committees this month, we'll be trying to get them in front of your committees next month for adoption. This is a required component in order to access the SS4A money from the Federal Highway Administration. And at this point, there's one more round of that safety implementation money. So it's a really good source of funding to access for all sorts of improvements on your roadways. We are continuing working on housing through the region. We have some grants through organizations, but earlier, I think in December, I was a panelist on a Northern Forest webinar for consideration for housing friendly planning and zoning. There was a person from Vermont and someone from Maine on the webinar as well. And we just talked about things you at the local government level can do to sort of make sure you're not inhibiting housing in any way through your local ordinances. And that coincides with a zoning guide that we will be putting out fairly soon that you can utilize within your municipality to analyze your existing zoning codes in relation to housing. And then finally, we are still working on the drinking water source protection program it's a New York State funded program. Through this, our organizational staff, mainly Sam, will work with your community to identify some plans and measures that you can take proactively to protect your drinking water source. So if you have a public drinking water source, this is a really great program to work through. It's follows the basic any sort of plan development process. You have a stakeholder group. And there are a lot of benefits to your community to doing this. Most importantly, it improves your ranking when applying for certain grants through the WQIP program. That land acquisition for water quality protection is a big one that they push, but it also, increases your community confidence in your public drinking water source. And in our experience, it has also opened up pathways for other planning initiatives and funding sources. So if you have a public drinking water source and you're interested, let Sam know. And that's it for me.
Well, thanks, Allison. It's been a busy year and you're going to have another busy year.
Yeah.
Good. And final, and next is director's report. Beth, take it away. Oh, no.
Allison,
Yes.
one thing that it's probably already on your radar, but I thought it might be worth mentioning anyway. Because it's creeping up to be a fairly big issue for towns, villages, and counties, is the solar companies now reaching out with these battery storage locations.
Yeah.
So that's becoming a really bigger deal. So I think that you're probably going to be pretty actively engaged if you're not already, and towns and villages looking at moratoriums and how that plays through some of the legal hurdles that are out there right now.
Sure, yeah, we've seen that come up in the comprehensive planning process and a lot of places even just recommending, site plan review for battery storage. It's a good place to start, but
Look- It looks like some in the state have been successful in the moratoriums, but you gotta, that's a process.
So
absolutely.
for those not familiar with it, there's one going in Fort Ann that's equal to 80,000 car batteries. They're not going in, they're fighting against it, but 80,000 car batteries. Do you imagine if that leaks and what it'd do to the soil around there? And you got to be careful because in one case, they're trying to make that umbrella on the initial approval of the solar farm. And they're coming back with some wording that's really strange. So you really got to be careful because they're terming it as part of the solar farm itself, when actually it's not. It should be separate. And, if you have fires or anything like that, we're just not prepared to handle that type of impact from a battery farm. So
Chances
that's
are
come up.
your local first responders are not equipped to fight those fires.
No, don't have the equipment, don't have the training.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up, Al. That's important. Steph, take it away.
Yes, have a couple of quick things. So the regional planning boards across the state, there's 9 of us. We collectively call ourselves NYSARC, New York State Association of Regional Councils. We worked with the legislature to put a bill through authorizing our eligibility to apply for certain state and federal grants. There's a lot of Department of State grants we're not eligible for, a lot of DEC grants, especially planning ones that we're not eligible for. Those of you on county government, and even towns are probably pretty familiar with us showing up your door and asking you to sponsor a grant for us. This will make it so that we are eligible for those grants. So it was carried by McDonald in the Assembly, Hinchy in the Senate, and it was signed into law before the end of last year. So it will end up, so May 21st, 2025. They're actually going to put language in our enabling legislation, GML 239H, I think section 3. That includes that. So we worked really hard on that, and we're really excited. It's something that we've been talking about since I started at the planning board 16 years ago. So to see that go through was really awesome. Also excitedly, this year in December, the EDA was reauthorized for the first time in 20 years. Along with that reauthorization, the Northern Border Regional Commission was reauthorized for another 5 years. Our national association, which I'm a board member of, the National Association of Development Organizations, worked with EDA on that reauthorization to put some stuff into it that is beneficial to us, more specifically an increase in our partnership planning grants. So we get $70,000 a year from the EDA for being a federally designated economic development district. That number has not gone up since I think the early 2000s. And $70,000 just can't carry an economic, it's not even a single person anymore when you're looking at salary and fringe and overhead. So there is a lot of support for increasing our partnership planning money, and this is the mechanism that would do it. So we're really excited about that and to see that come forward. Northern Borders, as I mentioned, was authorized for another 3 years or 5 years. It increased their funding from 33 million to 40 million annually, and it did add 2 more New York counties, Wyoming and Schoharie. And as a board member on NATO, we finished the organization's strategic plan this year. So we have the next 5-year strategic plan, and the board adopted that last month.
Any questions for Beth?
I don't more.
Oh, you got more? Oh,
Is my time off? Applications, just really quick. I put together a $1.15 million EPA Brownfield Coalition grant. Also submitted a grant for $200,000 to the Lake Champlain Basin Program for the economic value of clean water in the Lake Champlain Basin. So the Lake Champlain Basin Program is a water quality program, but they're really starting to talk about the economic value, and they really want numbers put towards that. So it would actually be for New York, Vermont, and the portions of Quebec that are within the watershed. We partnered with the 4 regional planning councils on the Vermont side of the basin. They're going to help us with the education and outreach on the Vermont side. So we're excited, we put it in, hopefully we get it. We also applied for work. That's the EPA Technical Assistance Program that we worked in Granville with, Recreation Economy for Rural Communities. And we put in an application for Northern Hamilton County focused around the mountain bike trails and that outdoor economy and how it connects to main streets and economic development in Indian Lake, Inlet, and Long Lake. Awards, as I mentioned before, the Bewaga Bay, the two salt ones, and the Wood Creek, Big Creek Watershed Management Plan. I think that's it. Yep.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any questions for Beth on any items you covered? Really excited to see NDRC reauthorized and EDA reauthorized. We get a lot of work through them. Okay,
I do have another. I took
thought you were
things
done.
off. No, I'm not done. I forgot. We are going to apply for a USDA Rural Development, Rural Business Development Grant, RBDG. And as part of the application package, we're required to have a resolution that says that we're going to apply for it. So I'd like to apply for a $99,000 grant to do value chain mapping for the outdoor recreation economy, to identify missing and weak links in the system, so we can work to build a more robust and resilient outdoor recreation economy in our 5 counties. So I need a resolution authorizing the director to apply for the funds and to execute all documents associated with the application and the award.
Motion by Ike. Do I have a second? Second by John Stroud. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next meeting date, April 8th at 2025 at 1 p.m. and location to BD.
Yeah, where do you guys want to go in April?
We've been to last one was Clinton, right?
Cape Cod.
I want Hawaii. We should all fly to Hawaii.
Good thing it's only once a year.
Yeah, I think we're usually in Hamilton in the spring.
I don't have a problem with that.
So we'll do Hamilton and we'll do Satellite in Clinton. And do you want Warren or Washington? Where do you want the Southern Satellite?
We can
Warren.
do one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other business come before the regional planning board? I'll adjourn them, but wait, we're not done yet. Regional Development Corporation next. So, welcome to the Regional Development Corporation membership meeting. I need a membership roll call.
Shannon Thayer, Josh Kretzer, Wendell Hughes, Mark Henry, Rebecca Murphy, Carl Weiss, Charlie Harrington, Meg Wood, here, Ike Tyler,
Here.
Sean Gilliland, Mike Diskin, Jim Dugan, Beth Hunt, here, Christy Wilt, here, Jody Small, here, Tracy Eldridge, John Taplin,
Here.
Frank Thomas,
Here.
John Stroud,
Here.
Kevin Garrity,
Here.
Christine Norton, here, Kevin Hayjos, Sue Clary, here, Charles Tall,
Here.
Dave O'Brien,
Here,
Bob Hanky, Al Nolet,
That's your servant.
Deb Donahue, here, Beth Gillis, here. 1, 2, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have a quorum.
first order of business is to approve the January 9th, 2024 membership meeting minutes as mailed. Do I have a motion? Motion by Shannon. Do I have a second? Second by Beth and Meg. Any corrections, omissions, discussion? All in favor of adopting, approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next order of business is election of board of directors. The current board of directors for the regional development corporation are Clinton County, Shannon Thayer, Essex County Representative, Margaret Wood, Hamilton County Representative, 2024, Beth Hunt, Warren County Representative, 2024, John Stroud, Washington County Representative, 2024, Al Nolet, and Beth and I are on there by our positions in the regional planning board. Anyone else? Just us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So first order of business, I would
Chairman, I'll move the slate as presented.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the slate as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Shannon, and I think it was Frank?
Yep.
Okay. Any further nominations? Any further nominations? Any further nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next is reaffirmation of bylaws. They were mailed to you, so I need a motion to reaffirm the bylaws as mailed. Motion by John Stroud. Do I have a second? Second by Beth. Any corrections or thoughts or changes recommended from the group? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you very much. Anything else?
Nope.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Hey.
So if you are not just elected to the RDC board, you can go. You were just elected to the RDC board, you must stay.
Good because of.
No.
Great. All right. Thanks, Frank. Sure. Hey, Beth. Any? Thank you, Frank.
You flip the switch.
All set? I'd like to call the, we have an agenda for this?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Like this.
Blind,
I'm
blind,
not talking.
blind.
I have one. Hey, what do you? I have one.
Go, right? You're doing good. And I, you know. Always make me. I'm so happy.
This is bigger.
Okay. Yeah.
Board meeting. Not it. I'm just.
They're all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Probably
Okay.
begin out. Yeah, we're talking about things. It makes.
Okay, now you can call your meeting to order.
This is confusing, but okay. Actually. You should call it to order. First order
Oh,
of
yeah, you're
business is- Sometimes I am.
All right, call the meeting to order at 2:22 PM. The Lake Champlain Lake George Regional Development Corp. Annual Board Meeting. First is roll call. Shannon Thayer,
Present.
Meg Wood,
Here.
Beth Hunt,
Here.
John Stroud,
Here.
Al Nolet,
Present.
Dave O'Brien,
Here,
and Beth Gillis is here. So first order of business is election of the chair. Can I have a nomination for the chair, please?
Nominate Dave O'Brien.
Al nominates Dave. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
John? Do I have any other nominations? Do I have any other nominations? Do I have any other nominations? Can I have a motion to close the nominations? By Al, can I have a second, please? By Beth. All those in favor in closing the nominations, say aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All those in favor in electing Dave O'Brien chair, please say aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
okay, second order of business is election of the vice chairman. Who's the current vice chairman?
John?
John Stroud. John Stroud. Do I have any motions for nomination for vice chair? Beth for, John Stroud. Do I have a second? Second by Meg. Do I have any further nominations? Do I have any further nominations? Do I have any further nominations? All in favor of closing nominations?
Motion to close.
To close the nominations? Moved by Al, second by Meg. All in favor? And a motion to elect John Stroud as vice chair.
All in favor.
All in favor? Aye. Treasurer. Current treasurer is
Typecast.
Mr. Nolet.
Mr. Nolet. I'll entertain a motion for nomination for vice chair, John Stroud. Do I have a second for treasurer?
Treasurer.
John Stroud.
Well, I'll know that.
Thanks, John.
I'll second.
I thought you wanted to be treasurer too.
No, I want Al to be treasurer.
Okay, good. Thanks for clarifying that, John. A second by Beth. Any further nominations? Any further nominations? Any further nominations? I've been asked 3 times. And hearing no other nominations, I entertain a motion to close nominations for,
Need a motion to close.
need a motion,
I'll make the motion to close.
motion to close? All in favor?
Need a second.
Second by Beth.
Beth.
All in,
All in favor to
all in
close.
favor? To close? All those in favor of electing Al Nolet as treasurer? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Al, sorry about that. And current secretary
It's Beth.
is Beth. So I need a
Beth Hunt.
Beth Hunt. You didn't want to be secretary?
I don't think I can be.
I wonder if it could be.
I don't know.
Well, we won't have to worry about it after next year or so. Okay, I need a motion to nominate Beth as secretary.
Or anybody.
or anybody? Motion by Meg. Do I have a second?
It's a
Second by
solid
Jan
try.
Stroud. Okay. Do I have any further nominations? Do I have any further nominations? Do I have any further nominations? Having heard none, I will entertain a motion to close nominations. Moved by Al, seconded by Meg. All in favor? Carried, and voting on the nomination secretary, Beth Hunt. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Appointments of committee members and committee chairs. Beth?
Hold, please. So the current governance committee is John Stroud as chair, members Al and Dave. Finance committee, Al is chair, members Meg and Dave. And audit committee, Beth Hunt is chair, members Shannon and John, but it can be moved and shuffled if.
Does anyone want to shuffle those around?
eh.
Then I will appoint the governance committee, finance committee, and audit committee members as listed, and the chairs that are the current chairs.
Right. Okay.
Do I have a motion? Oh, no, I do appoint them. Sorry. Too many places have different rules. So they are appointed. Approval of minutes from the July 9th, 2024 meeting. I have a motion to accept those minutes. Motion by Beth, second by John Stroud and Shannon. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Al, you get to do your thing again. At your service.
So this is probably the smallest financial report of any organization I've ever created in my entire life. There's $23,740.53 in the checking account. And all the loans are paid off. We paid off USDA, so we get about 73 cents a month in interest. That's all that's going on.
I'll celebrate when this is gone. What's the process of,
Apparently, it's quite the process, and our attorneys have told us that we need to work with the auditors first.
Okay.
So that
They are aware.
they are very aware. Yep.
so since there's no business, we can start that process now, right?
Correct.
Get the auditors done, so once the audit's done, we can close it.
Well, there was business in 24 because we wrote off a loan, had a loan pay off, and we paid off USDA
And 25 will need to be audited because we're still open.
because there's right.
Two more.
So we two more audits,
So
a 24 and a 20.
here's a question, may not know the answer to this. Could we close them the period early? Could we say we close our books on July 30th and start the process?
So the process is going to cost us attorney fees, so I don't think we can close the books. Right?
Well, yeah, well, I should say, could the end of the year be made July 30th or April 30th since we have no business going on?
No.
Basically, you just want to make sure that in calendar year 25, we get across the finish line.
Right.
Or you're going to cost yourself a whole other.
Well, if we don't, we close the books as of December
Doesn't matter
31st,
when
we'll
you
have,
close our books.
we'll have
There's
another
no
audit.
transaction. So it won't matter when you close, just be done by 12/31.
So we still have insurance. We're gonna have legal fees. We have to pay the auditor.
Okay. Can't tell I'm ready to be rid of that one.
It's close.
Next is
So we
reaffirmation.
need an approval of the treasurer's report and also the 2024 abstracts. You can lump that if you want.
Motion for treasury report and abstract. Shannon, do I have a second? Beth? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Uh,
Carried. Next, we have reaffirmation of policies and real property investment statement available at.
Yep, so the policies are the attendance policy, code of ethics, compensation policy, defense and indemnification policy, fee policy, loan and credit policy, procurement policy, whistleblower policy, sexual harassment policy, internal control procedures policy, and investment policy.
Okay. Need a motion to reaffirm those.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Shannon, do I have a second? Second by John Stroud. Any omissions, corrections, changes? All in favor of reaffirming, say aye. Opposed? Carried. Director paperwork,
Yep, so you have the three pieces of director paperwork I need you all to fill out for 2025. The acknowledgement of fiduciary duties and responsibilities, the certificate of independent director, and the annual statement of financial disclosures. And I realize that the independent director says 2019, just cross it out, and write 2025, please.
okay. You want us to do it now or do you want to be?
If you could do it, yeah, I mean, you want to do it in the next
Well,
5 minutes?
the
it'll be
financial
for me.
statement's gonna take a bit for some people. But
Yeah, you can
it's
always,
up to the group.
you can always just do it and email, scan it and email it to me, or do it right now. Completely up to you. I don't care. That was just an FYI. Please do it.
So exhibit C2. Right,
And you've got witnesses sitting next to you, so.
so when they ask for corporation name, it's Regional Development Corporation or corporation.
What are you talking about?
In here, it asks for corporation
Yeah,
name.
LCLGRDC.
Let's see. Witness that, please. Pick that one up.
It'll-
Okay. well then, Here's that one.
You're getting ahead of yourself,
Why?
because we haven't gotten to that yet. That's number 8.
Done. Did I just say see last year's?
I'll grab them for me afterwards. You want to just keep going with the agenda? While people fill stuff out.
Yeah. Okay,
Next is the confidential board evals. If you could fill those out and either give them to me today or scan them to me by the end of the month. I have to compile this and submit it to the authority budget office. Can we keep going?
Yep,
So next is the governance committee report. So you all have the reports in your packet, but governance committee chair Strow, if you would like to give the report to the board, you've got it in your.
I have the committee report, which states three things. The committee reviewed the charter and had no changes. Do we vote on that?
We don't have to if there's nothing to change.
And the committee reviewed the written policies and had no changes. And the committee completed the self-assessment process. Committee members ranked all criteria as 5 very satisfied or outstanding.
And that's it. That's what the governance committee did on
okay,
October 8th, 2024. Finance committee from Chairman Nola.
The finance committee also reviewed its charter, reviewed its policies and procedures and investment policies, and also completed its self-assessment process. And we were all overly whelmed with the success.
And the audit committee report, please.
On October 8th, 2024, the committee reviewed the charter and had some changes. Committee approved the contract with the ER group for the 24, 25, and 26 auditing services. The committee completed the self-assessment process. Committee members ranked all criteria as a 4 or satisfied, exceeds requirements, or a 5 very satisfied or outstanding. That's it.
okay, thank you very much.
And the last thing on the agenda is the 2025 annual work plan. The work plan is to complete the 2024 audit by March 30th of 2025, submit the report to the ABO by March 30th of 2025, and to dissolve the RDC. So I need a motion on the annual work plan, please.
Moved.
Moved by Al, can I have a second?
I have a second.
Second by Shannon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I don't have any other.
Good,
Beth, you need any special action from this group to engage the auditors, the attorneys in the dissolution process?
So we did that last year.
Okay, I just want to make
Yep.
sure that we're not holding you up. with anything.
Nope, we're good to go. The auditors and I need to figure out what the actual next steps are.
and the auditors, we still have a contract with the auditor, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, good,
Yep.
thank you.
For 24, 25, and 26, but as Al noted, they're well aware we're looking to dissolve the RDC. Okay. You want to do a motion to adjourn?
Just adjourn it,
Oh,
it's all adjourned. Thank you.
2:39 PM.
Karen, you want to hit that? Sure.